Hello, this is Tom Watson reporting with the Week 8 of the Mike Watt and the Missingmen North American Hyphenated-Man Tour 2011. The final 3 days. We wake up in Seattle at Sandy and Steve's place, and it's always nice to wake up there. It's just a comfortable place, and nice to see Sandy in the morning and, kind of get ourselves together for the drive to Eugene, which is a long one. But we hang out for a little bit and eat some food. She makes us some great breakfast, and Bob and Pete get their stuff together, and we head out southward towards Eugene. It's a pretty long drive, and go over a lot of terrain. A lot of different kinds of scenery and things to see and weather and all that. And but it's pretty chilly for this time of year, so we got there pretty early. We got there earlier than we expected. I think we got there around 3:30 or 4, and we got to Sam Bond's in Eugene. It's kind of a cafe bar slash semi-live space, kind of more like a country style folk jam bar slash eating pad. Anyway, so we have some time to kill, and it doesn't look like we're doing a sound check just by the way the sound system looks and just the vibe and all that, because people are in there eating. So at one point I climb in the back of the van because Mike's in the back seat of the van sleeping, and I climb in under the level and where the gear usually is, and I lay down in there and try to stay warm and get a little rest time. By the time the show starts, actually before that, I contact a friend of mine, Donald Morgan, who lives in Eugene, just to see if he's around and also see if we can crash at his place tonight. And luckily it will work out, so that's great to have a place to stay. It'll be good to see him, and the crowd is decent. It's not a very large place, but it's a good turnout, and the people seem pretty nice, and the food is good, and we do our thing and try to sell some merchandise, and Bob has his thing going, and by the time we play, it's kind of late. I guess something like 10:30, 11. But we'd been there so long that it just feels like a super long day. So we do our gig, and I think it was good. Sometimes I like playing in situations where we're limited by the sound system and the room and the miking, the set up and all that. It just somehow pulls us together in a good way, and I feel pretty good about it. After the gig, we head over to Donald's place, and he lets us stay in his apartment because he's staying with his girlfriend, and works out really good for us. So we all get a good night's sleep. And in the morning, we get up pretty early to head to San Francisco. It's a pretty long drive, another long drive, and we take turns driving. And at one point in the van, we're running power off the lighter, the electrical lighter outlet, and splitting it and running up a little converter or transformer to power a computer and a couple other things, and our GPS. And suddenly everything stops and the GPS dies, and it turns out that we suck too much energy out of this little socket, so the GPS is down and we have to navigate without it. And it's kind of strange, even though I know the drive, it seems strange to drive without the navigator. You come to rely on that. But we do get to the bottom of the hill at the time to load in, and we get a great spot to load in and get everything in there, and Richie shows up, and familiar face. It's nice to see him. Haven't seen him in a while. And we do our sound check and eat some food, and Raul and I get some rest upstairs, and by the time the doors open, actually I fall asleep and I wake up and the doors are open and people are there, so it's weird, kind of a weird like time lapse. But I see my friend Steve Anderson, old singer from Slovenly, my old friend from many years ago, singer from Toxic Shock and Slovenly, and a friend of ours also, Sam Goldman, who's also been a collaborator with us in the final days of the Slovenly era, and more music that Stephen Scott made, and Tim, and he's a really good guy, so it was nice to see him too. So between Richie and Steve and Sam, it's a lot of people to talk to. And Steve McKay shows up, and he's going to play some sax with us, so that's great. It's always nice to have him join, and always mixes things up a little bit. He's a great guy. And by the time we play, it's probably about midnight, and we do a good show. I feel good about it. I feel good about all the shows, for mostly. I mean, there are little mess ups here and there, but they're all pretty strong, and I feel good about it. And after the show, we all head to Kenny and Lisa's place like usual. We stay with them down south of Market, and climb into their loft pad on Townsend and get some shut-eye. And yeah, I think I go right to sleep. I talked to Kenny about his Moog Source synthesizer for a little bit, because I always see it there, and I'm always envious of it. I've always loved that synth, but I guess it has some problems, but I hope maybe I can help one day with that. Anyway, in the morning we get up, and south of Market is strange, because there actually used to be a bagel shop across the street, but it closed, or I don't know if maybe it has different hours. It's just not open on the morning that we wake up. And so we go and hunt for coffee, and Lisa and Raul and I go and get some coffee and get back, and we pretty much just pack up and head to Sacramento for our final gig. And we head over there, and it's not too far, about an hour and a half drive, and by the time we get, actually it seemed longer than that somehow, maybe I'm wrong. We get to the Blue Lamp where we played before a couple of times, and Brian there is super cool, and it's nice to be like our final show. I mean, I always like to play I would prefer to play in LA on our final show, just to be home, but it's cool to be in Sacramento too, and it's a nice place, good people. We also play with Nick from Terra Milos. He plays, who's doing some guitar improv with a friend of his, Brian? No, I'm sorry, I forgot the name. But anyway, they do a guitar drum duo, freak out guitar noise drum thrash kind of experimental jam, and it's really great, and it's just a nice kind of mind opener for a band to play after. And so after that, we get on and do our final show, and there's some loud talking and some distractions from the crowd, which is kind of irritating, but we go on with it and get through the gig, and that's it. We head over to Concepcion and Mario's place, and earlier we actually went there before the gig, I should say, and that was nice to hang out at the house and before the gig. So anyway, heading back, we get back to our place and have a couple drinks with them, and Raul and I head to our little back house sleeping area like we usually do, and call it a night. And that's the end of the tour, although we do get up in the morning, and Peek and Bob and Raul and Mike and I all get in the van for one last drive and head all the way down to LA. And we drop Peek off, and then I get dropped off, and Mike and Raul and Bob head back down to Pedro, and that's the end of the tour. Nothing really bad happened. A lot of great things happened, and really fun tour, really good fun shows, and really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.